are goodbyes, and then there are the ones that break your heart. This week, Days of Our Lives fans are facing a farewell unlike any other. After more than 5 decades in Salem, Maggie Kuriakis, the heart, the hope, and the moral compass of the Horton family, is leaving. It's not just a storyline. It's reality. Actress Suzanne Rogers, the woman who became Maggie, has revealed she's been diagnosed with stage 2 colorectal cancer. At 82 years old, she's stepping back from filming to focus on her health. But before she goes, the show is preparing something unforgettable, a final chapter drenched in emotion, silence, and love. Because in Salem, no goodbye is ever simple. And when the matriarch leaves, the entire town feels it. Let's dive into what's really happening behind this tear-soaked exit, and what it means for Days of Our Lives moving forward. To understand why this farewell feels so personal, we have to travel back, not just through the history of Days of Our Lives, but through 5 decades of daytime television magic. When Suzanne Rogers first stepped into the role of Maggie Horton in 1973, few could have predicted that she would become one of the most beloved, enduring figures in soap opera history. At a time when television heroines were often fragile or one-dimensional, Suzanne brought something different, strength wrapped in softness, hope laced with heartbreak. Maggie's journey began in tragedy, a young woman living with paralysis, learning to walk again both physically and emotionally. Viewers watched her fall in love with Mickey Horton, find purpose in family, and somehow rise above loss after loss. Over the years, she became the emotional anchor of Salem, the person others turned to when their worlds fell apart. But what truly made Maggie timeless was the woman behind her. Suzanne's quiet warmth, her impeccable grace, and her unshakable professionalism made her the beating heart of the day's set. Cast and crew called her the Mother of Salem. She remembered birthdays, offered comfort in tough times, and reminded everyone, from producers to extras, that kindness mattered. So when the news broke that Suzanne was leaving, fans didn't just see a character stepping off screen. They saw a legend taking her final bow, leaving behind a silence too heavy for words. Because when Maggie goes quiet, the entire town listens. It began, as so many real-life dramas do, with intuition. Suzanne Rogers told TV Insider that she simply felt something wasn't right. There was no dramatic collapse, no obvious warning sign, just a quiet voice inside urging her to call her doctor. At first, it seemed routine. After all, Suzanne had always been vigilant about her health, having undergone regular colonoscopies for years. But this time, something was different. Her doctor ordered another round of tests, an MRI, a PET scan, and then, a biopsy. And then came the words that froze time: stage 2 colorectal cancer. For a moment, the actress who'd spent her life delivering emotional lines to millions suddenly found herself speechless. Shock, fear, disbelief. How could this be happening, after everything, after decades of inspiring others to stay strong? Within days, Suzanne was thrust into a battle no script could prepare her for. Her treatment plan was aggressive: 6 weeks of radiation and chemotherapy, 5 days a week. She had to step away from Days of Our Lives, from the lights, the laughter, the family she'd known for half a century. But she didn't fight alone. While her biological family lived miles away, her Days family stepped up. Lindsay Godfrey, her on-screen daughter Sarah, became her rock, literally sitting beside Suzanne through infusion sessions, holding her hand through every tear and tremor. Paul Telfer, who plays Xander, brought her meals, comfort, and laughter when the pain became too much. These were not just co-stars. They were her lifeline. Because when the cameras stop rolling, real bonds remain. And in Suzanne's darkest hours, those bonds saved her. Fame fades. Awards gather dust. But the way people show up for you, that's what defines a legacy. And Suzanne Rogers' legacy is written not in accolades, but in the love she inspired around her. When word spread through the Days cast that she was ill, messages poured in from every corner of the show's long history. Producers Ken Corday and Noel Maxim personally checked in, ensuring she had everything she needed. Co-stars like Mary Beth Evans, Kayla, Stephen Nichols, Steve, and Greg Reichardt, Leo, reached out again and again, sending encouragement, prayers, and gentle reminders that she wasn't forgotten. Even cast members who had only recently joined the show were moved to tears. One described the set without her as eerily quiet, like the Horton house with no Christmas lights. Because that's who Suzanne was. The warmth behind the walls, the calm in the chaos. But true to her spirit, she didn't stay down for long. Against all odds, she completed her treatment and began to heal. In her own words, she is recovering, grateful, and stronger than ever. And in a twist worthy of any Salem miracle, Suzanne is already scheduled to return to filming next week. So yes, we'll see Maggie say goodbye on screen in 2026. But behind the scenes, Suzanne Rogers has already written her own comeback. She's not just surviving cancer, she's redefining what it means to live. Because just like Maggie Horton, she may bend, but she never breaks. So what will Maggie Horton Kuriaki's on-screen farewell actually look like? The truth is, it's already being written, carefully, lovingly, and with reverence for one of Days of Our Lives' most iconic characters. Because Days films roughly 10 months ahead, viewers won't see this emotional chapter until sometime in 2026. But make no mistake, it will be worth the wait. Writers are crafting a storyline that captures everything Maggie has stood for: resilience, grace, and forgiveness in the face of unthinkable loss. Expect scenes that will stop time, the kind of heartfelt exchanges that remind us why we fell in love with Salem in the first place. She'll share one last quiet conversation with Sarah, where mother and daughter finally make peace with all the pain they've carried. There will be a tender moment with Xander, perhaps a hand on his cheek, as Maggie forgives him one more time, not because he deserves it, but because she believes in redemption. And then, the scene that everyone will remember. Inside the Horton house, sunlight spilling across the table, Maggie will leave behind something simple: a letter, a photograph, or a treasured ornament. A final symbol of her presence for those who remain. There's no word yet if her exit will be a death. Most insiders believe it will be a journey, not an ending. Maybe she'll leave Salem for treatment. Maybe she'll retreat to the Kuriaki's estate to heal. Or maybe she just needs a moment, away from the noise, the grief, the ghosts. Whatever the reason, her goodbye will be quiet, reflective, and utterly devastating. Because in Salem, silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's remembrance. It's legacy. It's Maggie Horton. And when she walks out that door, even for a little while, the whole town will feel colder without her. But here's the miracle hiding beneath the sorrow: this goodbye isn't forever. Suzanne Rogers has already confirmed she intends to return to Days of Our Lives after her recovery. And that changes everything. It means that Maggie's departure isn't a curtain call, it's a pause. A breath. A reminder that even the strongest hearts sometimes need to step away, only to come back stronger. So when she does return, months or even a year later, the emotion will be overwhelming. Imagine it: the door opens at the Horton house. The camera pans slowly upward. And there she is, Maggie Horton, smiling softly, home again. But Salem will not be the same. During her absence, the world she built may shift in unexpected ways. Will Sarah rise to become the emotional center of the Horton family, taking her mother's place as its steady soul? Will Xander, once a man of chaos, finally live up to the faith Maggie always had in him? And how will Victor's legacy, the Kuriaki's estate, and Maggie's name continue to echo across new generations? Those are the questions fans will cling to, because they aren't just about plotlines. They're about legacy, survival, and the enduring power of love. And Suzanne Rogers herself is living proof. Even in pain, she radiates hope. Even in silence, she tells a story. And when she returns, it won't just be a comeback. It'll be a resurrection. As the lights fade in the Horton living room and the familiar music swells, one truth becomes painfully clear: this isn't just another exit, it's the end of an era. For over 50 years, Suzanne Rogers didn't just play Maggie Horton. She was Maggie Horton, the conscience of Salem, the unbreakable mother, the voice of reason amid chaos. She taught us that forgiveness isn't weakness, that compassion can exist even in heartbreak, and that true love, the kind that survives every storm, never dies. So when we watch her final episode, every tear we shed will carry both grief and gratitude. Grief, for losing the woman who gave the Hortons their heart. Gratitude, for the decades of warmth, wisdom, and love she shared with us. Suzanne Rogers has turned pain into poetry, struggle into strength, and tragedy into triumph. Her journey reminds us that even heroes need rest before they rise again. So yes, this is goodbye. But it's not forever. Because somewhere, beyond the script, beyond the cameras, Maggie Horton Kuriakis still stands, a symbol of endurance, and a promise that love never truly leaves us. Until she returns, Salem will wait, wrapped in silence, filled with pain, and love that never fades.